Good morning and welcome to Unity of Wilmington, North Carolina. We welcome you to our hybrid service, to you out in cyberspace out there and to all of the wonderful people here. I'm Lainey Mauger, and I would like to tell you that Unity of Wilmington invites you to expand your consciousness and transform yourself. We do that because we believe in three major truths. Number one, I'm a beloved expression of God, as are all of us. Number two, I'm here for a holy purpose. And number three, always in the right place at the right time, right now.
Welcome to the planet. Welcome to existence. Everyone's here. Everyone's here. Everybody's watching you now. Everybody waits for you now. What happens next? What happens next? I dare you to move. I dare you to move. I dare you to lift yourself up off the floor. I dare you to move. I dare you to move like today never happened. Today never happened before. Welcome to the fallout. Welcome to resistance. The tension is here. The tension is here between who you are and who you could be, between how it is and how it should be. Yeah, I dare you to move. I dare you to move. I dare you to lift yourself up off the floor. I dare you to move. I dare you to move like today never happened. Today never happened before. Maybe resistance is stories to tell. Maybe forgiveness is right where you fell. Where can you run to escape from yourself? Where you gonna go? Where you gonna go? Salvation is here. I dare you to move. I dare you to move. I dare you to lift yourself up off the floor. Dare you to move. I dare you to move like today never happened. Today never happened. Today never happened. Today never happened before.
Paul Teal, and we have a guest pianist today, Michael Lauricella. So let's give him a big hand. He's filling in for our Katie. Have you ever had the experience of being with somebody, a friend, or maybe just an acquaintance, and you're with them and you're talking to them, and they're sharing something that they believe, and you have a differing belief, and you find yourself reluctant to share your own belief because you don't want to create conflict, or you think, oh, they might not like me anymore. That's something. Have you ever had that experience? Oh, I'm getting some yeses here. So if you guys are online, please feel free to put something in the the chat box there. It happens. We're often socialized not to make waves. Have you had that experience? So at times, then we have a difficult time with our courage to be ourselves, that desire to be authentic, which emerges from us, the desire to share our truths about ourselves with each other. It takes a level of acceptance from another person. It takes a level of self-acceptance from us to be able to do that. And it takes courage to stand up and to say, this is who I am, and you may or may not like who I am, but this is who I am. And I'm willing to stand in the consciousness of my beingness. Now, that doesn't mean we never change. That doesn't mean we don't engage in flexibility with each other. But there are times when it's difficult. It's actually called normative conformity. That's the technical term. In the 1950s, a man named Solomon Asch, a psychologist named Solomon Asch, who was working at Swarthmore College, decided to look at this, to do some research around this. And what he did was he set up a group of people who knew what was happening. They're called Confederates in experiments, who would come into a room, and the Confederates would answer the questions inaccurately. And there would be one participant, or subject sometimes they're called, who would come into the room. Usually the others were seated in the room, and this person would come in last, take a seat, and there was one question that was asked. And person 1, person 2, person 3, person 4 would answer, and they would answer quite often inaccurately. Once in a while they would answer accurately, but they would answer inaccurately. And then the actual participant, not knowing what was going on, had a decision to make. Do I answer what I believe, or do I follow the crowd? And this is really what Solomon Asch was looking at. This is what he used. It's called a target line over here. And then you have A, B, and C. So go ahead and look at this. Which one do you think, and if you're online, put it in the chat. Which one do you think is equal? Which two lines, or which line is equal with the target line? C. Okay, anybody think anything differently? So here's a young man, and he's sitting in class, and they have a number of trials for this. And so here's the result of what happened. So over time, 25% conformed most of the time. So 4 people have given the inaccurate answer, but you don't know that. And you have a decision to make. Do I say what I think, or do I just go with the crowd? So we can use this with target lines, but we can use this with other things. Oh, well, everybody else is doing it. Maybe I should too. Is that familiar at all to anybody? I have to say it's familiar to me. I've gone to see many a movie that I didn't really want to see, but I wanted to be with a group of people that were seeing the movie. Sometimes I liked it, and I was so happy I went. And other times I'm like, oh, well, I got to be with my friends. And that was what I felt like. 50% of the people conformed at least once. And there were 25%, 1/4 of the population that was being tested, never conformed. And that was fascinating to me. Now remember, this was done in the 50s, and it was done with all men. And so there's a lot of problems with that. But it's been a research that's been picked up several different times. And one of the couple of researchers picked it up, and they did the exact same study. You know, replication is very important in scientific literature. So they came along, they took Solomon Asch's work, and they did the same study. They did it with mathematics, engineering, and chemistry students. And all throughout 395 trials, only one time did the subject say something different. So I thought that was fascinating. More linear left brain types of people are more likely to just stand up and be who they are, versus the social scientists, which most in the 1950s, most psychological studies came out of the psych department or the sociology department because they had to. And I was the same way when I was teaching at a university. If you took my class, you had to be a subject for at least so many the graduate students or the professors' work that they were doing, the ongoing research. And that was just part of your grade, because if you're going to become a psychologist and you're going to do research, you really need to know what it's like to be on the other side. But I just find this fascinating, particularly in the idea of authenticity, that courage to be. Who's willing to say, yes, even though I'm afraid you might not like me, I'm willing to stand and be courageous. I'm willing to stand and be myself. I've had instances in my life. One of them was in the coming out process. I shared with my best friend that I was coming out, and that was the end of our friendship. And that was sad to me, but my desire to be who I am was much stronger than my desire to feel somebody else's idea of me. And you hear me talk about this. Whose opinion is the most important opinion? So you see where I'm coming from. My opinion about myself needs to be the most important opinion as I move through. Now, that doesn't mean I don't have self-doubt. It doesn't mean that I don't wonder, did I make the right decision? It doesn't mean that sometimes when somebody decides, well, I don't really want to spend time with you, or I don't really care for you because of the decisions that you made, it doesn't mean that I'm not sad. And usually it doesn't go that far. But sometimes when we voice our opinions, when we say what's true for us, it causes conflict. It causes a shift in the relationship. And that can bring up a lot of feelings. And so then we have to decide, well, do I be who I am? Or do I feel a need to please other people? And so we have to look at that. What's the most important to me? What's the most important to you? And it's okay, your choices. We have to stand in the consciousness of our choices, but we also have to find a way to feel positive, feel good about ourselves, to have self-esteem in the midst of our choices. It's an interesting thing. The Bible has 4 wonderful stories about what it calls bold courage. One of them has to do with Moses. One of them has to do with Esther. One of them has to do with Daniel. And one of them has to do with David. And I promise you I won't go through all 4 of these. But let's talk about David a little bit. Some of you may be familiar with the David and Goliath story. So the Philistines and the Israelites were at war with each other. And they had come together on 2 big mountains. And they would fight in the valley. So each day, each morning, Goliath, a giant Philistine, would come out into the valley and yell at the Israelites, hey, come and fight me. And if I win, then all of your army becomes under our rule. But if I lose, then all of our army becomes under your rule. So this is all found in 1 Samuel. So day after day after day, Goliath taunted the Israelites. For 40 days, the Bible says. Well, metaphysically, 40 days means as long as it takes. It's not a literal number of days. It's a metaphorical number of days. So 40 days is as long as it takes. So for as long as it took, this huge Goliath came out in all of his armor. He was huge to them, and he taunted them, come and fight me. And can you imagine what else he might have said? Oh, are you scared? Are you too scared to fight me? I mean, think about what you might say if you were in that position. And remember, and sometimes this is hard to look at, we are every character of the Bible. So we have an inner Goliath. We have somebody that stands in our full armor and is like, come and fight me. Come on, take me on. Bring it on is the current vernacular. Bring it on. We have that piece of ourselves. And here's the Israelites' army. King Saul was the leader of it at the time, and nobody in the Israelites' army wanted to fight Goliath. So for 40 days, here comes the taunt. And you can imagine when you're being taunted over and over and over and over, what that does to one's self-esteem. What does it do to your desire to stand up for yourself? What does it do for your courage to be? I want you to think about that, because we have that at times in our society. It's not quite so death or not death, or in being captured or not captured. So one day, David, who was a young boy, and we've all may have heard of King David in the Bible. All of this is in Hebrew scriptures. He's still a young boy. He's still tending the sheep for his father, but he's also bringing food to the Israelites' army, mostly to his 3 brothers who are soldiers in the Israelites' army. So he's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And he begins to hear Goliath taunting. And he starts asking questions. And he's asking his brothers questions. And his brother says, "Oh, you're thinking about this? This is crazy. There's no way you, a little boy," because that's how the brother looked at him, "there's no way you, a little boy, could conquer Goliath. There is just no way." And the brothers were jealous. But the brothers also did not invite or encourage David's desire. So how many times in your life have you had a dream, a desire that's come up, and somebody else has said, "There's no way you could do that. That's ridiculous." Or have you ever done that to somebody? Sadly, when I was younger, I can say I did that, and I had to practice self-forgiveness for that. So David's thinking about it, he's going back and forth, he's bringing food to his brothers, but he's got this idea in his consciousness now. And he feels like he has this courage within him that is this divine courage, because he feels like that God has supported him as a shepherd boy many, many times, helping him to keep the sheep safe, helping him to keep himself safe. And so he says to one of his brothers, "I want to do this." And again, the brothers are like, "No, there's no way, there's no way, there's no way." But David goes to King Saul and says, "I want to do this." And of course, King Saul has a similar response. "There's no way, he's huge. Goliath is huge and you're just a little boy." But the desire, the idea is growing in David. And he says, "I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it." And so King Saul says, "Well, if you're going to do it, I want you to put on all my armor." Now remember, King Saul's a big man and David's a young boy. And so King Saul puts all of his armor on David, the helmet and all of the material and the sword, which is way too big for him. And can you imagine what it must have felt like to be weighted down with all of that, to be wearing, I think about it as wearing someone else's clothes. I'm not so good at that. So you're wearing someone else's idea of what it means to be a soldier. You're wearing somebody else's idea of what it takes to fight this giant who's still coming out every morning and taunting them. And David feels into it. He says, "This just doesn't feel like me. I can't do this. I can't wear this." Well, people think he's even crazier by this time. But David goes and he picks up 5 smooth stones. And he goes out with his regular clothes on, his shepherding gear, with his sling. It's often called a slingshot, but it's really a sling that he puts a stone in, and he twirls it. And he's very skilled at it because he's been hitting lions and the different things, bears, whatever, come at sheep. So he's very skilled at what he does. And Goliath just thinks this is hysterical. You're sending this little boy to fight me? This is ridiculous. But he goes anyway, and they go into the valley, and David puts 1 stone in the sling. And he twirls it, and he lets it go. And it hits Goliath right on the forehead, and Goliath goes kaboom, right on his face. And what you don't hear in Sunday school very often is David then took Goliath's swords and cut his head off, and they take it to Jerusalem to display it. And the Philistine army now has to be under the rule of King Saul's army. But the piece I really want you to hear in this is based on the idea of his heart, based on his trust, his belief, his faith. And you know, our beliefs fuel our faith, based on the trust, the belief, and the faith. David had the courage to be who he was in the way he wanted, and he was successful. And let's take a short look at that. David had the courage to go into battle with a giant. What's the giant in your life right now? What's the giant that you're facing? And it may not look like Goliath, but we have ideas, we have events, we have people in our lives that feel like a giant to us. They feel like there's no way we're going to be able to move through this. And how might I draw upon my faith, my knowingness, my experience? And this is why we always invite you to have an experience of God, because head knowledge does not take us into the ability to be ourselves. We have to have the experience of our own consciousness, our own relationship, our own inner expression of God, that beloved expression of God that each of us is, in order to stand true and have the courage to be who we are. David exhibited steadfast confidence in his ability. Steadfast confidence in his ability. Where do you in your life do that? And what does that feel like? And isn't that exciting? Like, one of the places I feel it regularly is when I get up to teach. When I'm teaching a class and I stand to teach, it's almost like I have this, I got this feeling, a level of confidence, a level of, oh yeah, this is easy. And so what if I don't know something? But there's other areas of my life I have more self-doubt. So I don't have the same degree of confidence. I have confidence, but I don't have the same degree of confidence. And so I'm working on those to develop the same degree of confidence as I have in other areas of my life. Can I make a decision and hold to my decision and reflect on it, but not go into that spiral downward of self-doubt? Can I not go into, oh, what if nobody loves me? What if nobody likes me? What if? You know the what ifs. Many of us have them. Oh, what if this and what if that and what if this? And while we can, part of decision making is to think about those. If we've made our decision and we're still in the what ifs, then we haven't fully moved forward in our decision. We're still in the past. So we're not standing with 2 feet in the decision. We might have 1 foot in and 1 foot still in the, oh, I don't know if I did the right thing. But what are those for you? And how do you bring your own divine courage into that situation? How do you bring your own divine courage into the event or into the relationship that you're struggling with at times? And then finally, David believed that God would protect him. Belief fuels our faith. So what do you believe about God? Do you believe that God is bigger? That God within us and the transcendent God that we talk about in unity is bigger than anything that can come before us? Do you hold that belief, and are you able to step forward and live from that belief? That's transformation, that knowingness, that willingness to say, if the idea comes from within me, from that spot, from that place in meditation, if it comes from within me, it's a belief to act on, to use my faith to stand in the consciousness of it, to take the action and see what happens. Now, does the result we want always come forth? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But oftentimes, it's the journey, it's the action. It's the being willingness to have the faith and step out in faith, with faith, as faith, and take the next step We're always in the right place at the right time, and that time is always this moment where we are. And when we can do that, oftentimes the outcome ends up not mattering. And sometimes when we don't get the outcome that we want, it may take some time, but as we stand in faith, well, I did what I felt called to do. As we stand in that faith, then what happens is we find out later on the reasoning that we didn't get the outcome that we wanted. Or we get to celebrate, which is the other side of the coin, that we did, and now we're moving forward in a new way. And then as we step into something new, as we engage in that process of change, we have to call forth our faith yet again to stand in the newness, to stand in the unknown. But either way, when we're doing it from our heart, when we're doing it from the consciousness of our divinity, then there's nothing that can go wrong. It might look like it for a few minutes or a few days or 40 days, as long as it takes for us to come back and see the bigger picture. So Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, says that courage is a spiritual quality that enables one to remain poised and centered in God amidst great difficulties and dangers. Courage, to be able to remain poised and centered in God no matter what's going on, amidst dangers, amidst conflict. Can you, in the middle of an argument with somebody, stay centered? I'm not always so good at it. I wish I were, and I'm growing in my skills. But can we? And when we don't stay centered, are we able to engage in the act of forgiveness? Are we able to expand our conscious awareness and say, oh, let me think about this. Where did I get off track? And let me be aware of where I got off track so that next time I can close the gap. And it may take us 40 days, as long as it takes, of closing the gap, but we can close the gap. And Charles Fillmore goes on to say, divine love in the heart. Divine love in the heart. Go ahead and touch your heart center. Divine love in the heart establishes one in fearlessness and indomitable courage. Courage comes from the heart. It doesn't mean I have no more fear. Thank you. It doesn't mean I don't have fear. It means that I experience the fear and I do it anyway if it's coming from my heart. It may mean I have the sweaty 10-minute conversation with somebody. It may be I hit send for something that I want. It may be that I make a change in my life, whatever I'm being called to change. Or it may be that I open up to gratitude for what I have. Standing in the fullness of our own lives. Being able to have the courage to be who we are, as we are. And if there's something we don't like, have the courage to engage in the process of change so that we can transform it, so we can live, and it is possible to live a life that we get up and look forward to every day. To be able to live as fully as possible, to love as broadly, as widely as we desire, and to hold within our hearts our own self-esteem, our own confidence in who we are, our own divine love for ourselves. Because how often do we give others the gift of our love, but we fail to give ourselves those same gifts, the same compassion, the same non-judgment, the same kindness? Do we give that to ourselves? Do we engage in self-care for ourselves as much as we engage in care for another? These are all parts of courage. The courage to be ourselves, to stand fully, to love expansively, and to be all that we were called here to be, even in the midst of what looks like some world craziness. Can we do that and stay centered in our awareness of who and what we are. If you're open to this, I'm going to invite you to say this with me. Would you come and just play behind me, please? Thank you so much. So do not be conformed to this world. Oh, this is what Romans says. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. These are words from the Apostle Paul. He was writing to the churches, the church in Rome, the synagogue in Rome. It was becoming a church at the time. Are we engaging in what it takes to transform our minds so that we can discern what the will of God is, what's good, what's acceptable, what's perfect? And remember, the will of God is that we have all the good in our lives that we can receive. The consciousness of God is that goodness. And are we open to expressing all of our consciousness of God, that God within us, the divine within us? Are we open to expressing as much as we can in any moment? That takes courage to stand. Sometimes we're the only one standing for something. And sometimes we're in the midst of a group of people who are saying, you should do it differently. But can we stand in that courage? Can we tune into our own inner guidance and be who we are called here to be, in the right place, at the right time, living fully and easily our holy purpose. So this is the affirmation. Whoops, went too far. I live in a universe of abundance and unlimited possibilities. And I know, I'm not thinking here, I know that no one can keep from me what is mine by right of consciousness. I'm willing to live courageously poised and centered in God. Think about this for a moment. Is this something you desire in your life? Do you want to live courageously poised and centered in God? Are you willing to step into the unknown to do it? To follow those inner impulses, even the ones that are your deepest heart's desire, that you think, oh, I don't know if I could actually do that. Are you willing to follow that and see what happens? Remembering there's no such thing as failure. We're simply going to have an experience with each other. And are you willing to have the courage to have that experience? If you are, say this with me now. Together, I live in a universe of abundance and unlimited possibilities. And I know that no one can keep from me what is mine of divine consciousness. I am willing to live courageously poised and centered in God. Let's take that into a time of meditation. I'm going to keep my eyes open, but you're welcome to keep your eyes open and closed. What is that desire of your heart? And then reach deeper. Is there a desire that's under that? Is there something that you're longing for, but you don't believe that you could actually have? It seems too big of a possibility. Or maybe that part of us that gets in the way, called our deservability, is saying to you, oh, not you. Somebody else deserves that more. Listen deeply to that inner voice for whatever it says to you. And ask yourself, what do I believe of God, that God that's within me and that transcendent God? Do I believe that in the midst of fear I can step forward courageously, centered and poised in God? Do I believe that what I believe fuels my faith? And the master teacher Jesus said, it only takes the faith the size of a mustard seed, but we must fully engage that faith. And if we have that level of faith, we can say to the mountain that's before us, move, and it will move. Do I have? And am I willing if I don't? that level of faith to stand poised and centered in the divine expression of God that I am? Am I willing to see the divine expression of God of others? Standing in the consciousness of our divinity, living life, open to receiving love, open to the joy that's for us, knowing that nothing that is ours can be taken from us by divine right, by divine consciousness. And am I willing to do the work to stand in the consciousness of my divinity, the meditation, the prayer, the affirmations, and to sit in the knowingness of who and what I am, centered in God? I'm going to invite us to come back to this time and this place and this moment, to engage our bravery, to engage our courage, to engage that inner knowing that's within each of us of who and what we are.
Wake up, the sun cannot wait for long. Reach out before it fades away. You will find the warmth when you surrender. Smile into the fear and let it play.
Paul Teal, Michael Lauricella.
Thank you for letting us share this time with you. We invite you to share your generosity with us through Venmo, through the donation button on your screen, or through a check in the basket in the back of the room. Glad you're here today. Thank you.
Go forth this week. Notice what comes before you. Notice what comes up that invites you to be you fully, because you're the only one. We're all unique, individualized expressions of the divine. And without you, there would be something missing. So without your courage, without your special gifts, there would be like a hole in our planet. So go forth and be yourself. And I encourage you to let us know what that's like for you. And have your best week ever.